Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute implosion of FaZe Clan and unpacking just how one of the most powerful brands in gaming managed to completely self-destruct.
So how does a giant of the gaming world just fall apart? We're talking about a complete collapse in basically 48 hours over a holiday weekend, no less. It left everyone spinning, asking one simple question. How in the world did this happen so fast?
To really get what happened here, we've got to start at the end. I know, it sounds weird, right? But the end is where it all went nuclear. The moment all of its biggest stars just got up and walked out the door, all at the same time.
The first real shockwave came from FaZe Adapt. I mean, this guy was an OG, a 14-year veteran. When he announced he was leaving, you just knew this wasn't some simple contract dispute. This was deep. This was personal.
And then, bam, another one hits. Your Age. He comes out with this emotional post, hinting that there was some serious drama going on behind the scenes for a long time. And when he uses a phrase like, forever closed, wow. That's about as final as it gets.
And it just didn't stop. Kaisan, Silky, more and more big names followed. Every single announcement had this feeling of hurt, like a really bad breakup. It became obvious pretty quick. This wasn't some roster shuffle. No way. This was a full-on rebellion.
And just look at how fast this all went down. We're talking about the Christmas holiday of all times. What started as just a few whispers online completely exploded into a full-blown crisis. In just a couple of days, the hashtag RIPFaZe was trending everywhere, and a gaming empire had basically become an internet punchline. So what on earth could make everyone jump ship at the exact same time? Well, if you listen to the creators and all the chatter online, it seems like the whole thing came down to one single number.
20%. That was the rumored demand from FaZe's new ownership. A 20% cut of all creator earnings. We're talking streams, sponsorships, brand deals, everything. For creators who had built their own personal brands from the ground up, this was just the ultimate slap in the face. It was the final straw. And you've got to see how insane this shift really was. The old FaZe deal, at least according to co-founder Banks, was all about support. You get free housing, you get filming staff, all without the org taking a cut of your personal income. The new deal? The complete opposite. You get less value from the brand itself, but now you have to pay a 20% tax on everything you make. You can see why it felt like a total betrayal of everything FaZe was supposed to stand for. But here's the thing. That 20% demand, it wasn't really the cause of the collapse. It was more like the gust of wind that finally knocked over a building that was already crumbling from the inside. The truth is, the business of FaZe had been a mess for years.
A few years back, FaZe went public using something called a SPAC merger. It's basically a financial shortcut to get onto the stock market. Now, the move was supposed to turn them into this massive media giant, but it pretty much fell apart right away. And that failure really pulled back the curtain, showing everyone that the company was built more on hype than on an actual sustainable business model.
So when you really break it all down, FaZe was just riddled with problems. It was an overvalued brand pretty much floating on investor money. They never really figured out how to make a profit from their own creators, and eventually they just became a talent agency where the talent got so big they didn't even need the agency anymore. It was, for all intents and purposes, a house of cards.
And right at the heart of this whole saga is the co-founder himself, FaZe Banks. He's a figure who, depending on who you ask, is either the brand's visionary hero or the very person who destroyed it.
Yeah, the debate around Banks is intense, to say the least. On one side, you have him claiming he spent millions of his own cash to build up these creators, only to get pushed out. But on the other side, you have critics calling him everything from a scum to a dumbass who tanked the company and got it mixed up in shady crypto deals. There's absolutely no middle ground here. And as soon as the creators started to leave, the fight got incredibly ugly and super personal. Banks did not hold back. He publicly attacked the very people he claimed to have built, calling their relationships fake, calling them disgusting. It was like watching the messiest public divorce play out on social media.
So, okay, the creators are gone, the brand's reputation is in flames, which leads to the big question. Is there anything actually left of FaZe Clan? Well, the answer is complicated.
Now, this is probably the most confusing and most important part of this whole mess. See, FaZe had actually split into two separate companies. There was FaZe Media, which was the home for all the content creators. That's the part that completely imploded. But then there's FaZe Esports, which runs the competitive teams in games like Call of Duty. That's a totally separate business with different owners, and it's still standing.
But even though the esports teams are technically safe for now, they have a massive branding problem. I mean, how do you go out and get big sponsorships when your name is tied to such a huge public meltdown? A lot of people are speculating that a rebrand is pretty much inevitable if they want to escape all this toxicity.
Ultimately, the complete and total fall of FaZe Clan leaves us with a critical question for the entire creator economy. Was this just a one-time spectacular failure? Or is it a warning sign that the whole model of a creator org, a brand built entirely on personality, is fundamentally and perhaps fatally flawed?